Hey, yo, what's the deal? It's your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag. You know what I mean? As of this recording right now, it is 6:55 p.m. You know what I mean? July 3rd, 2025. You know what I'm saying? And right now, I'm here in Fort Greene Park, inside Fort Greene Park, chilling. Now, I mean, look like it's gonna fucking rain. You know what I'm saying? So we shall see. I mean, it was drizzling and stuff. You know what I mean? So my ass, my Puerto Rican ass was running. It was running for cover. You know what I mean? But it was just a little drizzle. You know what I'm saying? It was just a little drizzle and such. But we got through it. You know what I mean? Like, us New Yorkers, we army strong. You know what I mean? So I want to make this what if video because I haven't done this in a while. You know what I mean? These things are fun to do. They're mad fun to make. You know what I'm saying? And this is actually the 16th edition of my takes on pro wrestling, pro wrestling what if, right? And, one of the biggest groups, one of the biggest stables from the 2010s that the WWE had, and they did unfortunately fumble. I'm not going to front. They did fumble with this group that I'm about to mention. You know what I mean? The Nexus. The Nexus, for those that don't know, the Nexus was a group that, and I'm not talking about Nexus, like the shampoo and shit. Remember the shampoo, Nexus shampoo? But the Nexus was a group that had a lot of people from the NXT competition show. Almost all the NXT competition show, competitors was in this group, right? And so what wound up happening was, hold on real quick. Sorry about that. What wound up happening was, instead of picking one person, they picked the sea of them. They picked a bunch. They picked a whole bunch. And these are people who could have been stars. They honestly could have been. You know what I'm saying? They could have been. But WWE did fumble. Once after the Survivor Series, I think it was 2010. No, yeah. I believe it was 2010. You know what I mean? Where it was no, actually there was SummerSlam. I'm sorry, SummerSlam. Right, SummerSlam or Survivor. It was one of the two. Actually, I think it was. I got to go back and remember. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long time, a very, very long time. But, Cena basically buried the entire group, and there was people. Yes, there were some people that came out of that group that, yes, they did become stars. Right? I mean, you had. Daniel Bryan. You had fucking, and that's basically it, to be honest. Who became the big star out that group. You know what I'm saying? Wade Barrett was a person who should have been a main eventer. But because he was the leader of that group, the distant leader. You know what I mean? But WWE fucked up with him so bad to the point where, he was no longer viewed as a threat, right? But they had others. You know what I mean? They had other people there. They had let me see who did they have. They had the primetime players with Darren Young and Titus O'Neil. Ryback, as I mentioned, but they weren't like big stars. You know what I'm saying? They weren't stars that was going to, they weren't like the Shield. You know what I mean? Where everyone in the Shield was superstars. Every single one. Right? So, where the Shield was. And I have no idea what happened. Like, my mic just cut off. My mic just completely cut off. But where the Shield was at, that's where the Nexus should have been at. Let me see other people. Ezekiel Jackson, he was there. Let me think. I can't. Fucking David Otunga, he should have been a star. He wasn't. Byron Saxton. You know what I mean? He's better off as a commentator. He found his calling as a commentator. A commentator. You know what I mean? So they fucked up badly, and I think with Cena burying them, I do think that they could have, they fucked up their whole momentum. But what if Cena didn't bury him? Now, I mean, what if they did go over Cena? Actually, with SummerSlam. What if Cena allowed them, to go over at that SummerSlam? What if? You know what I mean? Like, that definitely would have been stars made. Wade Barrett would have been a star right then and there. You know what I mean? Right fucking then and there. You know what I mean? He would have been a main eventer clearly. Right? Let me see. What else? And then you had others. I forgot. Heath Slater was there. Justin Gabriel. Remember, they fired Bryan Danielson, a.k.a. Daniel Bryan, and they brought him back. You know what I mean? Because what he did to Justin Roberts. You know what I mean? But, again, I think it was a group that, again, there were people from FCW. Right? It was an FCW group. So it was a lot of hit and misses, from that group. Right? And then, of course, remember, they tried to redo the thing with the core, but that didn't work. You know what I mean? That legit didn't work. It got bad to the point where CM Punk with the Nexus was their fucking leader. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was insane when you think about it. Right? Hold on a minute. And then, as plus also, remember, you also had, what's this guy's name? Michael Tarver, who they fumbled completely. You know what I mean? Michael Tarver had a good look. He had a good look. He could have been somebody, but they fucked him up. Right? Let me see what else. What else with the Nexus? Again, like, you had stars there. You legit had fucking stars made right there in that group. Again, there were some people who still have longevity and such, right? Like I said, speaking of Darren Young, he was actually backstage at AEW 300 yesterday. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Darren Young, he's an okay wrestler. Fred Rosler's an okay wrestler. He's nobody really that is, going to shake your boots and such. But again, if Cena would have never buried him, you know what I mean, at that SummerSlam, who knows what matches we could have seen at Mania. I mean, who knows what stars we could have seen. You know what I mean? It might have been a political thing because, again, I felt bad for Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett, like I said, was fucking great. Wade Barrett was fucking terrific. The fact that they did nothing with him. The fact, all right, Bad News Barrett, all right, that wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. But I felt like they could have done more with him as a serious wrestler. But they did nothing with him. They did absolutely nothing with Wade Barrett. Now, I mean, it's bothersome too. It is, because they could have, they could have done, he had so much potential, and WWE fucked that up. Mostly Vince. Vince destroyed that. It wasn't really WWE. It was mostly Vince that did that. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? And of course, look what happened, some 2 or 3 years later. You know what I mean? The Shield. The Shield basically became what the Nexus was supposed to be. But I think it's because, since it was NXT, you know what I mean? And these guys mostly, with the exception of Joe Adewale, they were indie guys and such, and that's why, what the fuck? That's why, you got these people with longevity. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm about to be out, you know what I'm saying? Because I got, I will be heading home after this shit. Because it's, it's going to pour and such. You know what I mean? I'm not doing no videos tomorrow, just to let you guys know, because, it's the 4th of July and I'm trying to relax and eat some food, baby. You know what I mean? So I'm going to definitely holler at y'all. So I'll talk to y'all Saturday. All right, unless some major news drop tomorrow, I'll definitely holler at y'all Saturday. All right? Peace.